Yes. I knew it was going to be strong. I knew it was going to be manly.
That's
because
right.
you are a giant man.
Gigantic human being.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'6".
Damn it.
Yeah.
That is so big.
Yeah.
That is so sexy. I think something about men, it's like one of the things that is an attribute or a plus sign for a fella is height.
I love being tall.
It's fantastic.
And I am right at the cutoff of where I would want. I wouldn't want to be taller.
6'8" would be like a little too much.
You start having trouble. You start having trouble finding clothes at my height, but you can still get stuff off the rack at my height. Little bit high, little bit taller, and it's big and tall stores. And
I was going to ask
that's
if you went to Big and Tall.
Sometimes.
But you can still get stuff at Target?
Yeah, Target's great.
I love that you're going to tell me your story.
But I hate big and tall stores because all the prices are jacked up because they know they have you by the balls. It's like if you're 6'10", 320 pounds, you walk in and they're like, yeah, you have to buy this stuff. What else are you going to do?
You have no choice.
You have no choice.
It's like the pharmacy thing. The pills, they're charging crazy things for people with cancer because they need them and they have no choice.
It's so uncool.
That is not fair.
And
big and tall
big and
stores.
tall clothes are garbage.
Are they?
They all look like Cosby sweaters and shit. They're like just stuff. It looks like
Cosby sweaters.
It looks like the person who chooses the clothes at a big and tall store that they're going to sell is like your grandparent. Oh, this will look nice on Steven, this sweater. And you're just like, no.
And then you're just like, please put that back on the rack.
And it's like $50 for just a regular t-shirt. And
back in the day, I think Dr. Huxtable's clothes were kind of hip.
Exactly.
In the 80s?
But it's 30 years later now. And that
it's
shit
30
is not
years.
hip.
It's how old are you?
I just turned 50.
Happy birthday to you.
Thanks.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Steve. Agee. Happy
Correct.
birthday to you.
Thank you.
What'd you do for your 50th?
Me and a bunch of friends went to the Madonna Inn in San Luis Obispo for 3 days.
Tell me about that. Is that where it's bright colors and stuff?
The Madonna Inn is this really old hotel in San Luis Obispo, which is near the ocean, near Pismo Beach. And all the rooms are themed.
How much
and
fun?
Like weird theme, not like circus theme or Western. They're just like, here's a pink room where every single thing in the room is pink.
Wow.
Here's a blue room where everything, and there's rooms that are all rock. They look like caves and the showers will be waterfall showers.
Wow.
Pretty amazing.
What was your room?
I got the all pink room. I went.
Did you request that?
Yeah, I told all my friends I want to go here because photography is my hobby.
Oh my gosh, thank you for mentioning that. And let's come back to that.
Okay. And I was like, I want to go have us all get a bunch of rooms up here so I can just take like tons of photos.
But did you know you wanted the pink room? Because you'd heard about
it? I looked at it and I was like, this will be great for photos. They're all great for photos.
For Insta, oh my gosh.
It's an Instagram heaven.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, was it girls and guys or just both?
Yeah.
Was it a lovely lady that you're currently making out with?
No, I'm not.
You're not?
No, it was just me and my goofy friends. Yeah.
How fun.
Yeah.
I wish we were better friends. I would like to have gone to the Madonna Inn.
You would have loved it.
Oh my gosh. I know I would have.
It is insane.
Stuff like that brings me such joy.
The rooms themselves are like not super comfortable. The walls are kind of thin, but it's like, that's not why you go there. You go there for photos. And
you go for photos.
Yeah.
And what'd you do when you were there? Did you went to the beach or bars or restaurants?
Yeah, we ate a lot. We went on like this picnic, like way up in the hill. Do you know Dave Dasmalchian?
He and I went to the same high school.
Oh yeah. He and his wife Eve kind of planned the whole thing.
Oh my gosh, so you're really good friends with Dave Dasmalchian?
Great friends.
Dalchin?
I saw him last night.
Dalchin.
Dasmalchian.
Whatever. I really don't like to
Dalmatian.
be corrected. Dave Dalmatian.
And so one of the days we went on a picnic up in the hills where they actually had gotten married.
Oh.
And it was beautiful.
So I'm curious how you became good friends with him.
I met Dave through James Gunn. We were all supposed to do a movie together.
Is he little and stocky and a director?
He's tall and thin and a director.
Huh.
He did the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Oh.
And then he produced a horror movie called The Belko Experiment. And he cast Dave in it, and he cast me in it. And so I met Dave at like table reads and parties leading up to that, and we just hit it off. I ended up not doing the movie because my dad went into intensive care and died like a few months later. So I literally 2 days before I was supposed to go to Bogota, Colombia to start shooting, my dad went into intensive care, and I had to I felt so horrible. I had to back out of the movie like 2 days before shooting out of the country. And I was like, I'm so sorry, I have to leave you high and dry. But I can't be in Colombia. I wouldn't be able to concentrate.
No.
And James, who's incredible, was just like, I'd be disappointed if you decided to still go to Colombia. And so he let me out of it and hired somebody else. But I became friends with Dave through that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that there's, you went into that to meet Dave.
Yeah.
Well, and have validation that you're an actor and you're wanted.
Yeah.
And to create a relationship with Dave.
Correct.
And you were around long enough for that to solidify that you didn't have to do the whole film with him.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And your father went into intensive care for what?
It's such a weird story. He had osteoarthritis in his knees, which is one of the most common medical problems old people have. He was at 85, and if you see a lot of old people, if you see them with shorts on or a skirt, you'll see a lot of old people have these scars on their knees. And it's from having their knees rebuilt or replaced. And it's super common. Most people, if they live long enough, will have to have it done. And so my dad had osteoarthritis in his knees. My dad was a doctor, too.
What kind?
Anesthesiologist.
My dad was a doctor.
Is that true? What kind?
Plastic and reconstructive.
Ooh.
But he passed before I could start getting my eyelids done. I was so pissed.
Yeah, my dad passed before he start putting me to sleep for surgeries. But he kept putting off, his doctor was like, you're going to have your knees rebuilt. And my dad one was worse than the other, and he kept putting it off.
Because he's a doctor?
Because he's a doctor. And he's like, I'll get to it.
Yeah.
I'm fine. And he just started I'd go home, and he would be walking with a cane. Next time I'd go home, he'd have a walker. And eventually he became bedridden. Couldn't,
Because he never did the surgery?
He did eventually do the surgery. But while he was waiting, because he got a really good surgeon, but there was a waiting list. And so while he was waiting, he just eventually couldn't walk anymore. And so he was laying in a bed in the living room of my parents' house because he couldn't go up and down the stairs. And he was popping anti-inflammatories for the pain. And they were eating a hole in his stomach without him knowing it.
Holy shit.
And he was basically bleeding to death on the inside.
He wasn't in pain like an ulcer?
No, I don't think he could feel it.
Yeah.
And one day he just told my mom, he's like, something feels off. They went to the hospital. The doctor said, you have holes in your stomach from all these pills you're taking. And they fixed it. He was fine, but he had to put off his surgery while his blood levels rebuilt. And so it was just more of him laying in bed and just really becoming a shell and withering. And then 2 weeks before he was supposed to get the surgery again, he got the flu. Had to put it off another. So he just kept getting sicker and sicker and super depressed, obviously.
Yeah.
If you can't walk, you're just going insane.
Yeah.
And then he finally had the surgery while he was... And it was a total success. It was fine. If he had done it a year earlier, he'd be great. But he had the surgery, and then while he was in the facility having his leg... while he was getting rehab, physical therapy, the knee broke again. And so they had to do surgery again. He's 85 at this point. And so he had to have surgery again.
I couldn't even imagine coming out of surgery and doing rehab where you're in freaking pain and you're already 85 and the discouragement to have it freaking broken.
50.
Seriously.
And so he has another surgery to fix his knee. It was a different part of the knee, and this time he had to have his leg immobilized while it healed. So he couldn't do physical therapy.
He couldn't even move.
No, he was just laying in bed, just getting sicker and sicker. Eventually...
Where was he? Riverside?
Riverside. So I was driving like every other day out to sit with him and hang out with him. And then 2 days before I was supposed to go to Columbia, he went into the ICU. He had pneumonia. And when you get pneumonia... At that
age, that's the beginning to go goodbye.
Pneumonia's shitty at our age.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's like, it's the kiss of death. Although that's not what killed him. So I stayed, and from then on, it was just, he was in the hospital, and it was eventually, it was his heart that killed him.
Like it just gave out? It's too much?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was on a respirator and everything at the end. So it was just like, that whole thing was just a year.
Wow. Of a slow decline.
Yeah. And I always tell people, I'm like, the podcast I have with Busy Phillips is all about medical stuff. And the whole point of it is like, if you feel something's wrong, go fix it.
Oh my gosh. I talk a lot about that. And when I do like speaking and stuff, I talk about that our body is one of our greatest allies when we're on track, when we're in line with what we're supposed to do, when something's off. And our body like whispers to us like, oh, you have shoulder pain, but that means that you're holding stress in your body that you need to release. And then if you don't get it, it gets worse and it gets worse. Yeah. Or if you're stressed out like this all the time and you're not finding ways to release it, it has to, all those crazy things have to come together in your body and it creates a mass.
It's your body saying, hello, we need to fix something.
Yeah.
Whether it's mental, stress related, or a physical ailment, you shouldn't ignore that shit.
Yes.
Especially the older you get.
Yes.
I would ignore pains when I was younger, in my 20s, and be fine.
Yeah.
But like now, I literally just, if something comes up, I just take care of it right away.
Instantly. Me too. Yeah. And I do think that if you don't, you do get hit over the head until you fall down. And then you have to really get the message, and it's way bigger. So it's good to just listen.
Yeah.
What are you saying? Okay, I also teach weird things like when you have a pain, like right now my shoulder's messed up. I'm getting an MRI on Friday, but
nice.
I always tell people, like, if you have something in the back of your neck or your back, sit down, put a chair in front of you, close your eyes, go to that place, pull it out and set it down. And then look at it and ask what it's here to tell you.
Yeah, what are you doing here?
What are you here to tell me so I can do it and
get
let
rid of
go of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds so silly, but it just makes you more, I think, like you tangible, that you don't have to be a victim of anything.
And a lot of our physical issues come from stress and anxiety. And
almost all.
Oh my God.
Almost all.
Yeah.
And some of that stuff was planted in our childhood, so we've been working hard at building up the stress and anxiety because we're holding on to it.
When I was in my early 30s, I had such bad panic attacks. I started getting panic attacks when I was 17, but it would happen like...
Why?
I'll tell you why. This is crazy. I got sent to military school when I was 17.
Why?
Because I loved the booze.
I still do.
I just loved to have fun.
Yes.
And it was really affecting my grades. And so my parents were like, we're going to send you to military school.
Right. That sounds funny to go. I'd love to get drunk and have fun. And it was really affecting my grades. I forgot you were in high school.
I was in high school. It wasn't legal.
Right.
That was illegal fun I was having. And so they sent me to this military school. I went to the school where they filmed Taps. Do you remember that movie?
Yes, I do.
With Sean Penn and...
Holy Toledo, that
Timothy
was for
Hutton
real.
And Tom Cruise and...
West Point? I made that
No, it was
up.
Valley Forge Military Academy.
Okay.
Also the school where J.D. Salinger went. And it is the basis for Pensy Prep and Catcher in the Rye.
Wow, cool.
It was kind of cool.
It is kind of cool. The history of it, I don't know if it is when you actually got there.
No, when you go... I always tell people, don't send your kid to military school because... I got sent there because I was a fuck up. And most of the kids are there because they are fuck ups. So you are literally sending your kid
with fuck ups
to the all-stars of fuck ups.
Yes. And you probably get treated like a fuck up by the people who are running it?
Yeah, but there's really no adults around. It's all kids. It is the inmates running the asylum. I had pretty much never tried drugs until I went to military school.
Oh, no!
It was insane.
That's so crazy.
Where were we going?
Wait, the panic attacks. But I have a question about panic attacks, and you're going to tell me. You're going to tell me why you had them.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you when your dad died.
Yeah.
What your relationship with him was.
Better at the end.
So it was rough growing up.
No, it was great growing up. I hit the jackpot. My parents were awesome.
Both of them.
Both of them.
Then why were you drinking and having panic attacks?
I was very shy. I loved drinking because I was a shy introvert. And when I was a freshman, 2 seniors took me out and got me drunk one night on Boone's farm.
Which seems like a freaking blast.
Tickle Pink.
And that's that cheap wine, right?
Oh, it's Strawberry Hill.
Yes.
It's strawberry wine.
I drank it.
It was so good. I drank a whole bottle. I was like 15. And I had so much fun with these guys and was so happy and found like I had no inhibitions. And so I just started drinking all the time. I was not afraid to talk to girls anymore. That's why I started drinking. And it was also just fun.
Did you get sloppy fast? Or they just didn't like that you were drinking?
Oh, I was off the deep end immediately.
Yeah.
It was a part of my life. I'm surprised I don't think I was an alcoholic. I quit no problem.
Yeah, I don't have an addictive personality, but when I go through funks or when I go through whatever and I dive in, the crazy thing about me is I'm a little bit kind of crazy, just sober. Like I want to spin and twirl and do the splits.
Yeah.
But when I get drunk, I want to be on the bar top, high kicking and splitting.
Sure.
I mean, it just seemed, but it really, like, of course I would. Like what?
I couldn't do that anymore. No. I went from being able to drink like seriously half a bottle of Southern Comfort at lunch in high school.
Wow.
And be functional to, I think I stopped drinking like 7 years ago because I couldn't even socially have 1 or 2 beers without feeling hungover the next day.
Wow.
2 beers. The next day I would wake up feeling like shit. And finally I was like,
what am I doing?
I was like, this isn't even fun anymore.
Yes.
I'm just socially drinking. I don't really like the taste of most alcohol.
Yeah.
Why don't I just stop doing this? And so I just stopped.
Well, that's impressive that you just stopped after it'd been 20 years or more.
Yeah, I don't have an addictive personality.
Yeah.
I quit smoking after years and years because I woke up one morning and was like, I don't want to smoke anymore. And I just stopped. Never had an urge.
Oh.
Never had a withdrawal.
That's some lucky ass shit right there.
Yeah.
I did some drugs that I had a blast on. I did cocaine back in the 80s.
Sure, I've tried that. It's
It's
a
so
really
much
fun drug.
fun.
Yeah.
But I didn't like that you have to keep doing it.
Yes.
That's a lot.
It wears off pretty quick.
It wears
And then you're just awake and kind of...
And then I did another drug that one time I went, oh! And then I was like...
Speed?
Yeah. Or crystal.
I did that. Yeah.
Crystal is the same thing as speed.
Yeah.
So I did that and I was like, it burned and then I was like, oh, yes.
Yeah, it lasts a little longer
too. It lasts the whole night and I just drink water. I'm like, I'm drinking water. I'm not buying cocktails. I'm dancing and I'm losing weight.
Yeah.
This is awesome. But I didn't have that addictive personality. So the next day I was like, I have to sleep. But then I didn't care if I ever did it again.
Yeah.
But the people I did it with kept doing it. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, that's what addiction looks like.
I tried everything. I mean, I used to be under the... I had the philosophy of I should try everything once. Just so if I grow up and have kids someday, I won't be a hypocrite saying you shouldn't do that. It leads... Because I will have tried everything.
Yeah.
And so there was a period where I tried almost everything. I smoked opium a bunch.
Which is just kind of pot, right? You didn't do heroin?
I really was afraid of heroin.
That's scary to me.
I almost did it one night, and I with some friends. And
would you have shot it up?
No, we were going to smoke it. One of my friends smoked some and then started throwing up.
Yeah.
And one of my biggest fears is throwing up. And so...
Throwing up is like, I'm out.
And so he just had to do it by himself.
You're so glad he went first.
That's what I go. That's what I said. I was like, I think I should have gone first because now there's no way I'm going to try this drug.
And he was just sitting with you tripping, and you were just like,
yeah,
on your phone.
Yeah. It's like,
I'm here for you, buddy.
I was like, yeah, duh, I should have gone first.
Yes.
But I'm kind of glad.
But that's good. That's good because that's one of those natural things where he was supposed to go first, so you're not supposed to do it.
That's a slippery slope.
Yeah. That one kind of scares me when I see in movies. I've never seen someone do it in person, but and then they just fall and then they either puke or they just sit like a zombie.
My first apartment in Hollywood, my second apartment was between Hollywood and Franklin on Sycamore, over by right by the Chinese Theater.
Yeah.
This was like probably 96.
Your first apartment, you said?
It was I moved here with a girlfriend in 95, and then like a year later we broke up. She moved back to Sacramento, and I stayed in Los Angeles. So I had to get a new apartment, a smaller apartment. I got this place right by the Chinese Theater in Hollywood, which isn't even great now, but back in the 90s was
gracious.
So gross. And I remember one night walking down the back stairs to go to the garage to get my car. I was going to go somewhere. And I just saw a girl shooting up heroin in the stairwell.
Oh my gosh!
And I was like, I think it's time to move.
Hollywood. When I moved here and I looked at Hollywood, I was like, what? I'm from Kansas. I was like, where's the glitz and glamour? This is scary and run down and dirty.
And Hollywood proper is disgusting. Still to this day, no one. I see tourists on Hollywood Boulevard. I'm like, why are you here?
Well, I'll have to say, Hollywood and Highland, they've cleaned it up and there's some nice places now.
Sure.
And if you're a tourist, it's not as scary, except for the dirty people in costumes who want to touch you.
Gross.
And take a picture and then take your money and get mad.
Yeah.
And I'm always to my kids, don't touch them. Don't touch them. Look at their outfits so dirty. Don't touch them.
Oh, the guy who plays Batman over there. For those watching who don't know, in front of the Chinese Theater in Hollywood and Highland, right on Hollywood Boulevard proper, there's a bunch of people. Most of them, I think, have mental illnesses.
Well, yeah, they do. But that's also where they do the Academy Awards.
Yes.
So it's a pretty area.
It's full of
in
tourists.
Makeover. Yeah, but it's
touristy.
So
these people wear character costumes like
oh my gosh, it's
Spider-Man,
sick.
Batman,
and you can see their packages and stuff, or they don't fit right. They're filthy, dirty costumes.
Johnny Depp from Pirates of the Caribbean, Lady Shrek. It's insane, and they will pose for photos and then ask you for money.
And then they get sometimes mad if you don't give them money.
But the guy who played Batman one night was leaving to go back to his apartment. He's still dressed as Batman. He gets in his little shitty Honda Accord or whatever it is, beat up car, and he's parallel parked between two other cars, and he like backs into a car, pulling out, like hits it and damages it, and then leaves. And this is in Hollywood, so there was a shitload of people that saw it, and they're like, "Holy shit, Batman just hit a car and hit and run!" And so they tell the police, and the police find him because someone had his license number, and so they go to his apartment. Shitty little apartment, and the police knock on the door, and he's like, "Who is it?" And they're like, "Police. What do you want?" A bunch of witnesses saw you hit a car and leave, and that's illegal. It's illegal to leave the scene of an accident. He's like, "It wasn't me." They're like, "You were dressed as Batman. It was definitely you." And he's like, "Nope, it wasn't me." And his girlfriend was in there, and she goes, let's just say his name was Michael. She goes, "Michael, just admit that you did it already." And so he hit her.
Oh no!
So
Batman had two hit and runs.
Batman physically assaulted his girlfriend, and so the police busted in and arrested him.
Oh my gosh, that's such a tragic story to hear. His car, his apartment, his own girlfriend.
There's also the guy dressed as Freddy Krueger had real knives on his fucking hand.
Oh my gosh.
Those people are bananas.
So this is cautionary. If you're coming to Hollywood and Highland, avoid the people dressed as superheroes.
It's like when you go to the zoo, don't pet the animals.
No,
they're dangerous.
Gosh. Okay, I want to get to this really quick.
My panic attacks?
Actually, no.
Okay.
I want to get to something else because sometimes I say, is there something you want to talk about? And you were, because I know you do a ton of podcasts, but I was trying to really be there for my guests if they needed any comforting before they came.
Yeah.
I didn't need to do that with a well-seasoned fella. But anyway, you mentioned a story about kind of super hardcore disappointment as you were trying to build what you love to do, your future.
Oh, yeah.
Will you talk a little bit about that when I was talking about something messy that you've been through?
Yeah, well, this was like one of those instances where something went horrible, and like looking back, it was a catalyst to like everything I have now, which, you know, you always hear people say, hey, do you have any advice for someone who wants to be an actor? Do you have any advice? I want to be a writer, a comedian. And if you were to interview 100 comedians or 100 actors or 100 writers, they would all have a different story of how they made it, how they got into the business. Sure, you can go to acting school for 4 to 6 years and get a master's in drama and then come here and get an agent. Like, that's one way. Or when I was really young, I wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. It was a dream. I knew at 11 that I wanted to be an actor and a comedian. And not much long after that, I was like, I want to be on Saturday Night Live.
Dave, too, when he was 10.
And look at, he did.
He got it.
And I was like, okay, so when I was in LA, I knew that there was a theater in Hollywood called the Groundlings, which is...
It's like Second City in Chicago.
Yeah. For those watching who don't know, or those listening, Saturday Night Live, a lot of the cast members come from Second City in Chicago. Like Farley, Dave. Was Dave I.O. or was he Second City?
He was I.O. then Second City.
Right. So there's a couple improv and sketch theaters in Chicago, Toronto, and here in Los Angeles, there's the Groundlings, which is Maya Rudolph was from there, Will Ferrell, Lorraine Newman, Phil Hartman, a lot of people. And being from California, I was like, okay,
that's yours.
Groundlings is where I have to go. And so I auditioned, and a lot of people don't know this, but you have to go through levels of classes. Like, there's 4 levels. There's a beginning improv.
I dropped out after 3.
Well, there's beginning improv, there's intermediate, then there's a writer's lab where you learn to write sketches.
I did that. I did to 3 there.
I did that one too. And then there's an advanced class where you write 2 shows over like 12 weeks. And there's sometimes a lot of waiting in between the classes. Like, between the 3rd level and the 4th level for me, there was a year-long waiting list.
Damn.
And I was also often paying for classes by working at the theater. I got there and was so immersed in the theater, I would work in the box office. I would tape shows for people.
Oh, that's great.
I was at that theater almost every day.
You were all in.
For years. For like probably 3 or 4 years. And after my advanced class, you do 2 shows, and then the people in the actual Groundlings, the main company members, vote on whether or not they're going to move you into the Sunday company, which is kind of like the minor league theater. And
so you finished the last class?
I finished my last class. This has been like three or 4 years of
total dedication
and living there, working there. All my friends were there, and then I got voted out. Like, I wake up one day and Mindy Sterling, who was my teacher, who you would know from the Austin Powers movie, she's Frau Farbissina, the German woman.
Yeah.
You would know her if she was my teacher. I love Mindy. Still to this day, love Mindy. She had to call me and tell me, you're out. And she was crying, and I had to get off the phone because I was about to start crying. And so I get off the phone, and then I'm just like, literally, it was cold turkey. It's just like, you can't go back there anymore. And it's like, I've been there every day. I woke up.
You gave your all to it.
I woke up the next day and just laid in bed the whole day because I was like, I don't know what to do now. There's not another. I think Improv Olympic was there by this time, but I was like, I'm not going to pay for fucking...
No, you did the work.
I already know how to write, and I know how to improvise. I'm not going to pay to do that.
To start over
again.
Somewhere else.
So that was like a dark time. I was so depressed for a long time, and the girl I was dating... Another good thing that came out of that, the girl I was dating was like, you need to start seeing a therapist. You are so depressed. You are miserable to be around. And so...
That's a gift.
I did it just to appease her. I was like, I don't think I need therapy. I had a great childhood. My parents were great, and
I'm just going to lay here and cry for another month, but I don't need help.
I go, this is just a hump I got to get over. I don't know how long it'll take, but I go to therapy thinking, oh, this will quiet my girlfriend, and literally I sit down in the chair and the therapist is like, so what was your childhood like? And I immediately just like
bawling
for an hour. I'm sitting in there crying, and I walked out of therapy going, that was the fucking best moment of my life.
Oh, you got to start releasing all the stuff.
Oh my God. I told the therapist at the end of the hour, I go, can we just keep going for another hour? And he's like, no. He's like, you need to sit on this and think about it for the next week. And
can I tell you real quick that when I started dating Dave, I started getting drunk and picking fights because I didn't know how to be in a relationship.
With Dave?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And he was like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And he said, well, let's go see a therapist. We went. The therapist said, you guys are going to be fine, but I would like to see you by yourself. And I was like, what a joke. She just wants my freaking money. Dave's like, you should probably go back.
Yeah.
And I went back and I sat down. She said one, and I hadn't cried for 30 years because my mom was absent. I was tough as nails. I didn't fucking need anyone.
Yeah.
And I sit down and she's like, so let me ask you something. I was like, I don't know. I'm here. Things are great. She goes, well, let me ask you something. She said one thing.
Yeah.
I go, ah! And I cried.
They really
the
know
entire
your triggers,
time. I left, came back next week. She asked one thing. I go, ah! I cried. And then I came back and it happened again. And I said, am I ever going to be able to talk? And she said, let's double up twice a week to get through. You have 30 years of crying to do. And then I went for 2 years and I learned all about who I am and what happened.
By the way, I think that was like the only time I had cried in like years.
Me too.
Was that first time in therapy. And then I was still not a crier. And then we were shooting an episode of the Sarah Silverman program where I had to cry. And like, I was so stressed about that because I was like, I can't cry. I can't make myself cry. I can't cry on cue. And so the day comes where I'm supposed to cry, and I'm sitting. It's like the first scene we shoot in the movie, and I'm sitting there and I'm like listening to like really sad music. And like fucking nothing is working. I'm like, and I have nothing to draw on that I was aware of. You know, I was like, oh, this is going to be horrible. And
they're going to drop in eye drops to try and make tears. So I go up
to the makeup girl and I go, isn't there something that you can blow in my eyes that make them water? And she's like, yeah, they have this like mentholatum, like this eucalyptus type stuff that they blow into your eyes, and it burns, and you immediately your eyes start watering.
Because you sniffed an onion.
And I'm like, oh, I look sad. So she did that, and I'm like, I'm as ready as I'm going to be. And so the director's like, all right. So we go in, and just as they're about to say action, my eyes are watering so bad that my brain just did this thing where it's like, oh, this is what it feels like to cry. You need to do this. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I started fucking bawling.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Like a baby. I could barely get my lines out. We shoot the master, and the director's like, cut. He's like, that's great. He's like, if you can just sit still for a couple minutes, we're going to move the cameras in for coverage. The whole time they're moving cameras around me, I'm just sitting there still bawling. Could not stop crying. We shoot our coverage. I am still crying.
Were you doing a scene with Sarah or something?
No, with Brian Posehn.
Oh.
And the scene
was Brian going, man, are you okay? Or just like
no, Brian was supposed to cry too. He was crying. He had no problem. He had a kid at that point, so you can go to some fucked up places.
Tell me about it.
And so we finished the scene. He's like, great, moving on. And then we're supposed to go shoot another scene, and everything's supposed to be happy. And like, it took me like half an hour after we finished to like stop crying. It felt so fucking good. I can't express how good it felt. My body was like, dude, you have fucking needed to do this.
Yes.
And then even after that, it wasn't, I still didn't cry a lot. And then it was after my dad died that I can now access this fucking horrible year of my life.
Yeah.
And like, I watch commercials now, movies, TV, and I will cry at... Like,
I cry all the time.
Ugh.
I love it so much. I love it. It's an equal release as laughing.
Yeah.
And both are needed because we have both emotions.
Yeah.
I love crying.
So anyway, I go to therapy.
I think we should try and cry today.
I get kicked out of the Groundlings, so I'm really sad.
And I wanted to say about that, too, that I thought,
yeah,
that was your identity. That was your family.
It was who I was. It was
that's
where
who you
all my
were.
friends were.
It's like, that was...
And some of my friends went on to go into the B company and then the Sunday company, and then Maya Rudolph was in that class with me.
Yes.
And look, Maya's like the greatest thing ever.
So keep going, because I love what happens. You're depressed and you go to therapy.
So eventually I'm like, I got to start performing again, because this is doing me no good. Just being sad is doing me no service. And so I have some friends who I run into who are like, oh, there's this theater on La Brea. It's in like a strip mall. It's like, it's really low budget, but they do like improv nights and like scene study and show. You can do, if you're a member there, you can do just put up shows. And I was like, all right. And so I go, and it was kind of cool. It was really small and janky, but I was like a big fish in a small pond. Now
yes.
I was like, oh, I can improvise and do characters, and like these people
you
are
had all
holy
the training.
Shit.
Yeah.
And then after a while, that didn't work out. So I was bouncing back and forth to different theaters, just small theaters doing improv, or just because I had to.
Trying to find a new home.
And then one day, my friend Jim Giordano called me, and he's like, hey, I'm doing this play that my friend Dave Juskow wrote. Dave is a New York comedian, and he's doing it out here in LA. He wanted to do it as a TV show, a pilot, but he wrote it as a play to kind of show that to, studios and stuff. And he goes, one of the cast members dropped out. And Jim is a guy I met at that small theater on La Brea. And I did a play that he had written. And so somebody dropped out of this play that he was doing with Dave. And they needed someone who could be funny and who also played guitar. And I play guitar. So he recommended me.
I love that you play guitar.
Just sight unseen, Dave Juskow cast me in his play. And it's like 3 days before the play starts.
Wow.
So I have to learn all the music and everything. And so I do this play, and it's fine. It's funny. I didn't think anything was going to come out of it. It was just down on, Theater Row down there on Santa Monica near Cahuenga. And turns out Dave was best friends with Sarah Silverman. And Sarah comes to opening night of our show, and afterwards I'm outside the theater, and she comes up to me. She's like, hey, you were really funny. I go, oh, thanks. I honestly hate doing live theater because I hate having to memorize lines. I'm terrified I'm going to forget my lines. And I have panic attacks. And she goes, oh my God. She goes, I have panic attacks. And we immediately just sat down on the stairs, smoked a joint together, and just bonded over panic attacks.
I love that.
Immediately became BFFs. We were hanging out every fucking day. We were inseparable. And because of Sarah, she got me a gig on... She was dating Jimmy Kimmel at one point, and he had started his talk show, and they needed a researcher, and she's like, oh, she recommended me, and I started there and worked my way up to a writer. So she's kind of responsible for me getting my first writing job.
Oh.
And then, which I promptly had to leave to go do her TV show, because she wrote a part for me on her TV show.
I love that so much.
And I can say, I have an acting career because of Sarah Silverman, but also, even going back to before that, I have an acting career because I got kicked out of the Groundlings.
You have an acting career because you made a decision when you're 10 years old you were going to be an actor.
That too.
You trained at the Groundlings to get the foundation of what you needed to go out and do, and it wasn't there.
Yeah, a roadblock comes and you just go a different
and then you
direction.
go to a theater that you kind of like, whatever, and do something you like, whatever.
Yeah.
To meet that guy, to get you there, to get you her.
Yeah.
And it's so magic when you do what you love.
Yeah.
And doors close and you don't walk away from it.
You literally have to roll with the punches.
Keep going.
You have to keep moving forward.
And that's right now when things are going rough, I'm just I really like God or universe or higher power or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll say, okay, this sucks so bad, but I so look forward what you have in store for me.
Sure.
And just having that knowing now, it keeps me from going too far down the rabbit hole of darkness.
Yeah.
And knowing, just like that story, good shit's coming.
Great shit.
better shit than you ever imagined.
Yeah, and it's also a learning experience. Like, not only did I move forward in a different direction, you have to be like water. Water forms to whatever. You put water in a glass, it forms to the glass. You put it in a bowl, you have to be fluid and just move around obstacles and just go where you're directed.
And I love, too, knowing that obstacles are always coming. Because that's how we learn.
Always, yeah.
So instead of going, I can't believe this. Or if the same obstacle comes, you go, maybe this time instead of plowing through it or whatever, I'm going to actually say, what is it here to teach me? Learn it so it doesn't have to come back. A new one will come for my learning.
Accepting all this is so great. And it's, I used to be so stressed when I'd go into an audition. Like, oh my God, I hope they like me. Oh my God, I fucked up a line. I go into an audition knowing it's a numbers game, knowing that they're going to see 50 people who look just like me.
Yeah.
And it's oftentimes someone's just like, he's fine, take him. And not based on talent. And so I go in, say my lines, you walk out the door, and your part of the equation is done.
Yeah.
You either get it or you don't, and you fucking move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was going to add something to that, but then I just got pulled sideways in my brain. To your Instagram feed.
Oh, yeah.
And I was really surprised by it because I post stuff and go because I have a bunch of kids and trying to do other stuff. So I'm not a big person on it.
Yeah.
Like a couple of my friends and family members have gotten mad at me because they're like, I like your stuff. You never even look at mine. I go, I'm sorry. I just don't have time to get to it. I can watch one 30-minute show before I go to bed, and it's the news. Dave always looks like, you TiVo the nightly news, but I do.
You TiVo the news?
I watch David Muir before I go to bed, or a little bit before I go to bed, because Oprah said it's not good to watch TV right before you go to bed, especially the news.
Right.
But I just let it filter in, nothing bad. I don't hold on to any of the bad stories. I just want to see what the hell really quick what happened in the world.
Yeah.
Really fast. I just want to know.
You should just always jump to the last. Usually the last story on a newscast is a positive story because they like to end the newscast. So you should just literally scan through on your DVR to the weather, entertainment, and then the last story in the news.
Yeah, but I do want to hear if there was some big catastrophe somewhere or something bad's happening. So the next day when people are like, I can't believe that car plowed through those people. I'm like, what? I want to at least know hot topics.
I'm glad I know about that now. Yeah.
And David Moore just touches everything lightly, so I like him. I used to be in love with Peter Jennings.
Oh, I love Peter Jennings.
Wasn't he neat? He was like a father figure. Something so comforting.
Now?
No, he passed from cancer.
He did?
Yeah, and then it was Diane Sawyer, I think.
Yeah, Tom Brokaw.
No, he's a different channel. Okay, I'm talking ABC right now.
Oh, you're strict ABC.
Oh, that's it.
How long have you been in LA?
I'm going to make up 91 to now, so maybe.
Do you remember the local ABC news? There was a weatherman named Dr. George.
No.
He was really funny. There was also, by the way, the voice of ABC was Paul Thomas Anderson's father.
Oh, MacGyver?
No.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I'm the worst.
The voice you would hear if you were watching ABC at night.
Wait, Paul Thomas Anderson. Oh, he's the big director.
From
Maya's
Magnolia, Punch. Yes, Maya's husband.
Yeah.
His father was the voice of ABC. Like if you were watching TV at night and you would hear, stay tuned, coming up next on ABC, The Fall Guy. That was Paul Thomas Anderson's dad.
With the Fall Guy, was that my boyfriend Lee Majors?
That was Lee Majors.
Why are you throwing him in right now?
I'm only thinking about that because I just listened to your podcast with Mo on the way over here.
I mean, he was Lee Majors back in the day with Farrah Fawcett. I think he was the hottest man that ever walked the earth. He was so damn sexy and charismatic.
And the Fall Guy. Yeah, The Fall Guy.
I think he was on Bonanza. The Fall Guy.
Yeah.
And I liked him best on $6 Million Man.
$6 Million Man
with Lindsay Wagner.
Yeah.
And I just remember in Kansas watching him going, wow, that guy's something else.
You've mouth kissed the $6 Million Man.
I mean, I think I had a crush on him. My mom did, and my dad. I think everyone loved him. And
I thought he was great.
When I saw him at some get together, and I thought, holy shit, there's Carol Burnett here and Lee Majors.
Yeah, Steve Austin. Yeah.
I was like, how am I going to touch Carol Burnett, and how am I going to interact? I'm going to get to him.
Yeah.
And he came up to Dave and was like, hey, Dave, Lee Majors, big fan, and exchanged business cards. So I exchanged with his wife. She texted me after saying, It's so great to meet you. Should have dinner tomorrow night. I go, yeah, we should.
Tomorrow.
Honey, we're having dinner tomorrow night with Lee Majors. We went to the Palm.
Love it.
Oh, you already heard it because I told the story already.
I heard the story. I love it.
But I love that there was, out of all the sketches they kept when they moved the Palm, they kept 2 original sketches of people. One was Lee Majors with Farrah Fawcett.
No shit.
And the other was something else. So when we were walking out, I saw that in the bar and I said, Lee, come here. He's like, yeah. Well, he had 2 martinis and he told delicious stories.
Oh, I love that.
I was just like, not only wanting to mouth kiss him, but I was like, everything that came out of his mouth was Sinatra and Farrah Fawcett. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then when we walked out, I saw the thing of him and Farrah. And I said, Lee, get over here. Let's take a picture. He goes, oh, well, I don't know. And his wife goes, go, Lee. And so he stood in front of him.
Lee and Lee.
And I stood in front of Farrah Fawcett. I was like, and she was like moving closer and going back. He's like, hurry up, please. Hurry up, please. Like he was hating it that he was posing in front of himself. And anyway, when we left, I didn't think we'd see him again. So I was like, I got to go for it. This will never come again.
I asked him.
Can I mouth kiss you? And he said, yes. And I grabbed his face and mouth kissed him.
Mouth kiss is weird.
It brings me joy.
Say, hey, can I kiss you?
No, I love mouth kiss. It makes me laugh. So I said it. He said, well, yes. And I grabbed his face and kissed it and then dove in the car and said, punch it. And I thought I'd never see him again. And we saw him the next 2 nights.
How does he look?
He looked the same. His face was still rugged and handsome.
Easily.
70s, up in the 70s. And then I saw a picture of him recently and he looked older. But when I saw him in person a year or 2 ago, he looked
That's great.
Foxy. And his girlfriend's like, his wife is a lot younger. She's beautiful, but they're such a lovely pair. It's really cool to see the age difference.
Yeah.
But they love each other so much and been together forever.
That's all that matters.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lee.
I love you.
Majors.
Oh, excuse me. What happened?
It didn't even register to me that it was Lee and Lee.
Lee and Lee.
Yeah.
I love, and he's Lee Majors. I was Lee Morgan.
Lee Minor.
Right?
Lee Majors, Lee Minors.
I know I'll never be minor to anyone. How dare you?
Do you remember when we met?
Well, here's what I was going to say I remember, and tell me if this is the right memory.
All right.
You were with, I'm going to make a name up because I can't remember anyone's name. Ellen Pompeo?
Ellen Page.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it was when I was with Rich Fulcher.
Okay, so no, you need to tell me that.
It was Matt and Morgan Walsh's wedding.
In Santa Barbara.
In Santa Barbara. And they had like a big party the night before. Do you remember at this bar? And everybody was there. Everyone in comedy was there. And it was so fun.
So fun.
I was hanging out with Fulcher the whole night, but I think
that... Boop, 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 boop,
yes.
Do you remember that? No.
Vaguely. Okay. I do vaguely remember
I remember that. Dave kept doing that, and I was doing the music for it. Okay, so...
I got to send you photos, because I think I have photos from that night. Because I had my camera, and I was taking photos with everybody, and...
I want to see the photos. Tell me what happened, because I am forgetful, and sometimes I drink too much.
Just everybody. I was drunk, too. Everybody was drunk.
Everyone was drunk.
Just super fun hanging out with everybody.
Oh, my gosh. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I think that's the first time we hung out.
And
what do you remember?
I adore Rich Fulcher.
I do, too. He's one of my best
Did he
friends.
go on your birthday?
No. He's married and has, like...
I just want you to know that I have 5 kids and married, and I would leave them all to go to Madonna Inn with you for your birthday next year.
How old are your kids? How old's the oldest?
Charlie's 19.
Damn.
And
youngest?
Margot's, I want to go through all of them, please.
Okay.
Charlie's 19. Margot is 17.
Yeah.
The twins, Sergeant and Audrey, are 12. And then my baby's 8, Eve.
Nice.
So I'm going to be in this for a long ass time.
At least 10 more years.
Eve will be how old when she graduates high school? 18?
18.
So 10 years, and I'm 53. I'll be 63 when my baby graduates. 67 when she graduates.
That's still good. 60s are great.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
When do things turn south?
I don't know, but I was really worried about turning 50. I honestly, it's been a month now. I feel no different.
I love it.
I just don't like saying 50. It's a big number.
It is.
You know what's weird? You know what I hate?
It's very adult.
The one thing that depresses me about getting older, more than anything, is when I'm filling out something online and it has the pull-down menu to what year were you born, and I click on it and just start scrolling.
Oh, too.
Because you're scrolling through the 2000s, the 90s, the 80s, the 70s.
Oh my gosh, it's so weird.
I'm like, fuck, it's taking me forever to get to the year I was born.
And you can literally just spin like this.
Yeah, and then I just see it in my head as years rolling by. And
I don't even realize really how old I am until somebody goes, oh my gosh, Leigh, that was 42 years ago. I'm like,
40.
What?
Yeah, I have friends now who I've known for like over 30 years.
It's so gross.
Because in this business in LA, you're friends with, like, I work with people who are way younger than me, people who are way older. So I have friends that are in their 60s. I have friends that are in their 20s.
Yeah.
But, like, I have friends that I've known since, like, junior high and elementary school that I'm still friends with. I'm like, oh my God, I've known you for 40 years.
Like, that's when you realize how old we are.
Yeah.
Is when you say things like that. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't, because in my head, I feel younger than 33.
Yeah.
And I think healthier right now, because I used to just eat a ton of Mexican food and margaritas and beer.
Yum.
A lot.
Yeah.
Casa Vega. And I've cut back on that. I love it so much. I want to go there one time with you.
All right.
Oh, but you're not drinking.
No, but I
Then I won't go with you.
I love Mexican food.
I know, I'm joking.
Last time I was at Casa Vega was with Fulcher and Horatio, and I don't remember what it was for, but there was a bunch of Chicago people there.
Something about that place with the dark and the Christmas lights year round and the red leather booths.
I love Mexican restaurants.
I just get in there. I don't ever want to leave. I feel like it's my adult Disneyland.
Taco stands are great, but I love going into a proper old school Mexican restaurant. Ugh. Dark candles.
And you know how you get starstruck about weird things? Well, I do.
Yeah.
Like some really famous people, I don't even know who they are. I say hi and just talk to them like a normal person. But some news people, I get starstruck because I watch the news. So, Casa Vega. I'm a huge fan. Been going forever. There? The owner, Mr. Vega's daughter, Christy. She is the owner now, or runs Casa Vega, and she's a mom at my kid's school.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that's Casa Vega owner. Because I love it so much. I was starstruck over the Casa Vega, who's younger than me and just a mom at the school. But just the stuff that we love so much.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. I think the one time I've been excited to see someone was Clint Eastwood.
Ooh.
I met him at a place called Nikki Blair's back when I used to run through the towns of Hollywood, making out, boozing up.
What was it called?
Nikki Blair's. It was a restaurant, kind of a bar. Gee, and it was near Dan Tana's.
Oh, okay.
Kind of in that area.
Yeah.
And I went in there and I turned the corner and there was like a 6'5". I don't know how tall he is.
He's a big guy.
He's a big guy. And I turned and I like bumped into him almost. I was like, and he just smiled at me and put his arms around me.
Whoa.
But it wasn't like he was going to make out with me, which I was disappointed about. Yeah, he gave me a hug like a dad or something, and he hugged me, and he was like, And I was like... and I thought, my dad would shit right now. He loves him.
Oh, my God.
Another one of my dad's loves, Willie Nelson.
Uh-huh.
So he played all the girls I loved before. I mean, he played all of his songs growing up in the car. And Dave did a movie with him.
He did?
Yeah, Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, shit, yeah.
And then Willie invited us to his concert here somewhere.
Whoa.
And then we went, and he invited us into his moving van or whatever. What's it called?
Smoking weed. His tour bus?
Yeah, thank you. His tour bus.
Moving van. He lived in a U-Haul.
His tour bus.
Yeah.
And we sat at this little kitchen table, and he sat across from me. And then Dave was here and somebody was there, whatever. And then there was like an entourage around us, and they opened like a big case of joints. And he picked a cigar looking thing.
A blunt.
And he lit it up and he said, "Darling, would you like some?" And I said, "Oh, no, thanks, Willie. I don't smoke pot." Well, I really don't, because it makes me paranoid and all that stuff.
It.
Well, give me a minute, please, Judger. So then it goes around. Everyone smokes it. Dave, everyone smokes it. And then I'm like, he comes back around. He goes, "Hey, brown eyes." I was like, "Yeah, Willie." He goes, "You want to smoke some pot?" I said, "I'm good, thank you." And then a voice came in my head, and it was my father in heaven. And he said, "If you're ever going to smoke goddamn pot, Leigh, it's with Willie Nelson on his tour bus." I said, "Excuse me, I've changed my mind, Willie. Pass it over here." And I did it. And I coughed so hard for maybe 15 minutes. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, sure.
I don't even know what was in that. I coughed for 15 minutes. What I loved is no one even cared or acknowledged me. They just gave me water and kept talking. You know, they're so professional.
I'm jealous.
Oh my gosh. So then I was like, all right, I'll do it one more time. We went into the concert. I didn't know where I was. I didn't see any of it.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand up. Dave was holding me for a little bit like this, and then I kind of slithered under while he was talking to someone, and I just pushed through the crowd and sat in some dark corner on a ledge, and he spent an hour looking for me.
Oh my God.
And then they got the car and we went home, and it was like a horrific high for me. It was way past what I could handle, but I do enjoy it. I smoke with them.
I'm super jealous of that.
My gosh, it was so awesome.
I want to get stoned with Willie Nelson and Harrison Ford.
Ooh.
He's a huge stoner.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
I think we should manifest that.
I
said we like we now are best friends. And I'm not really a pot smoker, but
I'm really trying to manifest that.
Well, let's put it out there, Harrison. We would like to just sit around. Where would you like to do it with him? Let's get specific here so we can manifest it.
Just like on his porch or something.
So, Harrison, if you are available for us to come to your porch with Callista too as well.
Sure.
Right?
I don't mind.
Are they still together?
I think so.
Yeah, Callista and I can visit and drink lemonade with vodka. And you guys can smoke pot, and we can just get to know each other a little bit and share whatever the hell comes out of your pie holes.
Is there a name for lemonade and vodka?
Well, if you put in iced tea,
Screwdriver is orange juice.
Yeah, lemonade and vodka would be like summer fresh. I don't know. I think it'd be summer fresh. I know if you put iced tea in with lemonade, it's an Arnold Palmer.
Yeah, Arnold Palmer.
Thank you for helping me how to say that last name.
Yeah.
Threw me for a loop with all those consonants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arnold Palmer.
What do you have coming? Oh, you guys, look at his Instagram. We didn't ever keep talking about that, but I saw him post the most beautiful photo of an actor and then an actress and then and I was like, you are a really incredibly talented photographer.
It's my hobby. Yeah, it's what I love doing more than anything.
Okay, so I would like to invite you to stop saying it's your hobby and to say I'm a photographer and I kick ass at it. And look at my work.
Yeah. Because look at my photography on my Instagram.
You're a freaking artist.
Thanks.
And you capture some beautiful stuff.
Thanks. I love doing it.
I want you to send me the pictures of that night that we all bonded in such a free... I will try and find some.
I think I know where they are.
We all bonded in a very loving, free, and supportive way.
It was a fun wedding too. The reception was great.
It was so great. I remember too looking out at the rocks when we were eating somewhere, and I saw Amy Poehler out there with what was his name? The guy with the low voice that she was married to.
Oh, Will Arnett.
Yeah. They were not married yet, and they were just starting to date, or they met there.
How long ago was this? This is over 10 years ago.
And they were just getting to know each other, and the two of them were out there climbing on rocks out by the ocean, and I was watching them going, oh, look at that. How cute is that? And then later they got married.
And then divorced.
Which is so common.
Cycle of life.
Marriage is crazy, 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 crazy. Just like all of it.
It's all crazy.
It's all crazy.
Just gotta roll with it.
Roll with it and be open to the changes and embrace them.
Yeah.
And then get your freaking gems, your lessons, and where you're supposed to be.
Absolutely.
You're precious.
You are.
I'm honored that you came today.
Thanks for asking me. I love talking. I could talk forever. I love talking.
Yeah, you're an amazing talker.
Thanks.
And interesting.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
Did you say so am I?
Yeah,
I really want to relish that coming from you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I'm happy you're here, and
thanks.
I want to hang out with you when you smoke with Harrison.
Okay.
And talk to Callista.
Okay.
And
drink summer breezes.
I want to go to margaritas with you and Rich Fulcher and whoever else you want to throw in.
That would be fun.
Casa Vega. And if you ever go back to that Madonna Inn,
I
want to be in the cement room.
I can't recommend that place enough.
Oh my gosh, I'm totally going to book it.
Really fun.
I'm not with you per se right now, but
but
I'm going to book it.
You got to go there.
I'm going.
It's amazing.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to hug you.
All right.
Thanks for coming. Do you want to say anything what you're working on or what you want them to look at?
No, I have nothing going on right now, but my podcast, We're No Doctors, that I do occasionally with Busy Phillips, but even when...
She's sexy.
Yeah, she's the best.
Her lips are crazy.
And even when, she's doing a TV show right now, so it's mostly just me.
So now it's just you talking about medical stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, if you ever want me to fill in, I will.
Okay.
Because my dad was a doctor.
Yep.
And from that, I think that I am.
Yeah.
I think I really know what's going on.
It's common with kids of
Isn't
doctors.
it?
Yes.
I was like,
time.
that's not broken. Your nose is not broken.
Yep.
Do you need stitches? No, you don't. We're just going to seal that up.
You're just going to you can super glue some cuts.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I haven't done that yet.
I have a friend who did it.
I'm not that secure in my practice yet.
I'm not either.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks for coming.
Bye, Leigh.
Bye. Look at his gigantic man body that I love.
Giant. Do you do this?